Want some, get some. How about those friggin' Pirates?
Yes, I am a pirate.
You have to go with the Pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything.
It's a pirate's life for me.
Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're Pirates.
It is a first down. Pirates.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
I don't think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there.
We will get Omaha. I can promise you that.
Painted purple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
Yeah. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul. And I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.
All right, welcome into the Sports Objective Extra Innings, brought to you by PGX Gloves. And with us right now, we have Kyle from LaGrange Barber. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, Dave? It was a good opening weekend. The Pirates start the season off 3-0 and off to a good start.
Absolutely. We're bringing in a baseball expert, a guy that knows more about baseball than I'll ever know, Mike Mullis. Mully, how you doing, man?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good. Glad to have you on tonight. Sorry for the delay, but we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah, we're still waiting to find out what the situation with AEW is right now. We know the CW has got NXT.
What in the world is going on?
Sorry, I don't know what I hit.
Watching the show, the pay-per-view revenue. Like some wrestling stuff in the background.
Yeah, hang on.
Exactly. Dave has
hang on.
Hit the wrong button here.
Everybody spent too much time in the jungle.
Sorry about that. All right. We're bringing in Mike Mullis. What a great way to start. Sorry, Mully.
You're good.
Yeah, let's talk about the series this week. First of all, let's get your thoughts before the series and now after the series. What were your thoughts going into the season about this team?
I think it kind of both ends kind of held serve. I really like the pitching. I like the depth of pitching. I like the depth of the club. I think that the challenges remain the same for this club, and it's going to be some type of consistency behind the plate. Wilcoxon obviously offensively did not have the weekend that he wanted. What concerned me is it seemed like at times he took his offense to his defense, and that's kind of and nothing glaring. It wasn't a problem against a team that, quite frankly, you're outmanning. But there were some botched balls and kind of sloppy receiving that was a little bit of a concern. And I again had that feeling going into the weekend. I will tell you, I think it's great to see JC back. He had a nice weekend, and this pitching staff that they faced is a non-traditional staff. Matter of fact, the Aiello kid on Friday night was like 68-84 with the mix of pitches. So the adjustments aren't easy when you're facing that. You don't really work on that a whole lot. I just think all in all, it was what you want to get out of a opening weekend, as being the 11th ranked team in the country.
No doubt. And the other thing was a 30 runs to 30-2. That really stood out to me because I think last year, I think it's safe to say, Mully, the bats were just not there last year. And I know it was Ryder, it's the opening weekend, but we've had situations where we lost a series a couple years ago. So, and what was it, swept by Bryant a couple years ago? So, for 2 years ago. So, it was good to see them coming out and taking care of business.
Yeah, and I think that the staff did a nice job. The pitching staff did a nice job. I would say if, as a coach, and if they're looking at it and they are, probably wanting a few more guys than you would have liked to have walked, especially with a light, fairly light hitting Bryant club. I got to think, and I hadn't looked at the stats yet, and I will a little bit later on. I got to feel like we got to be top 5 in the country in strikeouts. I mean, a lot of punchies this weekend, and being our pitching against their hitting. But yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. It was good to see, good teams beat lesser teams the way they're supposed to beat them, right? Like, so if I know that I'm, you know, Alabama football and I'm playing, a 1AA team, I should beat them handily. And I think that's kind of what we saw this weekend. Not at all a bad weekend. There were sputters in the offense. There were more fly balls. It's kind of funny to me. There were more fly balls. I've watched a ton of fall baseball, a ton of early spring baseball in East Carolina. There were a lot more fly balls against this lesser pitching than we typically see out of this offense, or I've seen out of this offense. So I think that's an adjustment they'll make. I will also tell you, going back to Aiello, the guy that came in Friday night, left-hander, nobody works on 68 in Division I baseball, right? Like, you just don't go up and crank the pitching machine down to face that. So non-conventional staff, I think the Pirates did what they had to do. I will tell you, I think that again, the coaching staff's probably looking at this thing going, these lulls offensively, we can't continue to repeat that and get to where we want to go. And also the team we're facing next weekend, they scored 46 runs this weekend against Wagner. So, there you have it. Good teams beat bad teams the way they're supposed to beat them. We scored 30 runs. They scored 46. I mean, it's all kind of relative to the environment and who you're playing.
Back-to-back shutout Saturday and Sunday. First time we've done that in a while. How hard is that to do in baseball at this level?
Say it again, Kyle. I'm sorry, I lost you a little bit.
Back-to-back shutout Saturday and Sunday. First time we've done that in a while. How hard is it to do that at this level?
No, look, back-to-back wins at this level is a challenge. And again, this Ryder Club had some accolades coming in as far as looking back to last year. They lost a lot off last year's club. They had mono run through the program. So that mean they were a little bit short staffed, but none of that can matter when you're looking at this. This, at the end of the day, the Pirates had to do what they did, and that's, again, shut guys out. They only allowed, I think the Pirates gave up 7 or 8 hits all weekend. I mean, it's the controllables. It's can we play good defense? Can we, the things that each player can control execution wise at every opportunity given. But yeah, no, look, back-to-back shutouts is a big deal. And quite frankly, the kid that hit the 2 home runs, the freshman left fielder, he wasn't even supposed to be in the lineup. He was only in the lineup because of the other guys having mono. Yeah. So, I mean, look, that's the beauty of sport.
Friday night, you were on the call when Parker Bird comes up to the plate. Gets to walk on 5 pitches. Talk about that. Talk about just being there, experiencing that. It was on ABC. I guess they still call their news program World News Tonight. It was not the top story, but the closing story last night. It was a lot of exposure for Parker, a lot of exposure for the program. So talk about just experiencing that.
And per the call that Darren and I had, it was emotional. It was, I've spent a lifetime in this stuff, right? Like I'm 50 years old now, and I grew up since like age 4 or 5. As soon as I could play, that's when I started playing, and so it was the most amazing. And I said this on the call. I've never seen anything like it. It was really, really cool and really inspirational for a lot of folks that are going through things, and I think that's why it becomes a mainstream conversation or a mainstream story, because this goes way past sports, way past baseball. This is climbing the highest mountain. And who knows what the future holds? Who knows how it looks, for Parker and his playing career? But at the end of the day, does it I mean, does it really matter? His family's there, the emotion, just the pure emotional feeling in the stands. It was a big deal, Kyle. Again, I meet some buddies afterwards, and we have a couple beers, and we're just talking, and they're asking me the same thing you ask, and I finally got off the phone about midnight via either text or phone calls, and I'm talking about people from the Midwest, coaches I know out in the Midwest, and it's everybody was impacted, and that's one of those deals. Like, if this doesn't get your juices flowing, you don't have a heart in your chest. And it was cool, man. It was beyond cool. It was amazing, and it's proof that perseverance pays. And it was we were just really lucky, right place, right time. I mean, you guys know me. I'm not a media guy. Like, I'm just an old baseball coach. But going into the call, I knew that there was a good chance this may happen. And 7th spot in the first, and I'm like, all right, this is going to happen. And I will tell you, I thought after the Jenkins Coward home run over the scoreboard, I'm like, all right, this is when Cliff's going to do it. The fans are still here, and it's still daylight, and it's kind of an electric environment, and it's a 10-run lead. And I watch him walk over again from my perch in the press box. I watch him walk over, and he's pointing, and he's telling somebody to grab a bat, and I kind of tap Darren. I go, hey, it may be right now. Excuse me, but it was Bristol Carter. And so we go all the way back around lineup, and then I see Parker show up again from the press box looking down, and he's got on batting gloves, and he's got a bat in his hand, and he's going over the scouting report for the new pitcher that they just brought in. And right then I was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, and it was an amazing moment. I think anybody watching it, got goosebumps. A lot of, as you quoted Coach Ruffin McNeil, a lot of eyeball sweat. Unbelievable moment. Like you said, transcend sports. If you didn't feel something, you don't have a heart in your chest, and not just Pirate Nation. That's why it was on ABC News. What was it like for you? Did it matter to you? Was it a big deal to hear your voice on ABC News last night?
You know what, Kyle? I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't hear it. I didn't see it on ABC News. I've had several people send me. Yeah. So backing up to your question, is it a big deal? It's just a big deal to have been involved in that. Again, I'm not a media guy. I'm just a baseball guy, right? Like, just in sports. And so probably for Darren, this is what he does. For me, this is more of a passion play, if that's, not to be too syrupy or sappy or whatever. But it is really cool to have people you think a lot of reach out and say, hey, man, we heard your call. I had somebody else say it was a viral call. And it's cool anytime you're part of history, which is what happened. And especially in that circumstance, yeah, it's a cool deal. But I'm also a guy who's won a lot of games, been around a lot of things, and it didn't mean anything to me until I got downstream. It was an expectation. Last night was certainly a incredibly special situation, but not because I was on the call, because Parker Bird fought his way back, and he got his first collegiate at bat.
And that's what's amazing when you think about the whole. For people that don't know, I work at the hospital, and when let me tell you something. The guy is great at baseball, but what I love about Cliff Godwin is how much he loves his players. And to see him when Parker was there and he was rallying behind, one of his players, that's what I was thinking about. Could this happen, the weekend? And when it happened, and see them embracing, going back in my mind and seeing him back when COVID was going on. So they had to bring him out to the to his family and right there in the main lobby area. And to see that, and then fast forward to, that some people are saying, we don't know if he's going to make it. And I said, please God, if anything, I was praying really hard for him, because obviously he's a human being, and you want to, he's one of us now, a Pirate. And then to fast forward to the Friday night at bat, it's just like incredible. I was just hoping, my point is, I was hoping he would live, he would make it. And then, all of a sudden now he's playing in a collegiate baseball game at the Division I level, the first time ever. It's mind blowing.
No, it's about, what else can we really say, right? Like,
right.
I will say, like, I called my wife when we got done, and I was like, I don't even know what I said. Like, I remember little snippets of like having this thought. I remember saying something to the effect of, kind of like, the words are hard to find, or I'm having a tough time getting my words out. And it's funny, again, not being I'm not, Tim McCarver, or I'm not, whatever. But I know that in that moment, my responsibility is to provide the color. That's why I'm called the color guy, right? The analyst. And Darren makes a completely professional, as Darren does. He makes a great call, and I'm like, I just spoke from the heart. And I've listened. I'm telling you guys, I've listened to it now a handful of times that it's been sent to me, and I still can't tell you exactly what I said, because it's what every coach dreams of, right? This kid faced adversity, he overcame adversity, he made the best of the situation. That's what the focus for me was, far more than what am I going to say. I do think that our call collectively did it justice, but we had this was more about the fans' reaction and more about just supporting him a bit than it was about us waxing poetic.
Right.
No, but your call did add to it, and you guys did a good job. So people can screw stuff up. You guys didn't screw it up.
In fact,
That's the biggest thing.
Right.
Yeah. William says, great job on the call, Mully. And James Cutler said it was amazing, no doubt about it. In fact,
and if you haven't seen the ABC story, Molly, I'll get somebody to get that to you. They did an incredible job. You're featured on it. I know that's not important to you, but your call is featured on it. But they just did a great job of treating Parker Bird's story with respect, and treating East Carolina baseball like it was big time. Like whoever put that story together seemed to have some knowledge of baseball. I'm guessing it was someone for ESPN who put that together for ABC.
You know what, KB? It's funny you say that, and we as Pirate fans, Pirate, whatever you want to say, it's funny that you make this statement that they treated us like we're big time, and however to paraphrase, hey buddy, this program is big time.
I know
And
it,
I'm
and
going
you
to
know
tell
it.
you, yeah, and at the end of the day, like, no different than coaching guys. You're like, hey, it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about us, but now the world maybe has a little bit of feel for what we've known all along. And it is a big time program, and it's not big time because of facilities. It's not big time because of all the accoutrement. It's big time because, and I think the slogan that whoever came up with this deserves a huge raise. It just means more, and baseball in this community means an awful lot. And in saying that, the passing of Marvin Jarman, I don't know what's more emotional, to see Parker Bird stroll up in AB, or the great Marvin Jarman passing. It's a inspirationally challenging time. But I would also say, if we could all live our lives as Marvin Jarman lived his, what he did every day is what he loved to do, and go to ball games and be part of, and we chase sometimes the brass ring and try to make things, where there are no things. And Marvin didn't do that. And RV said a long time ago, and I've used this quote several times, and I hope it doesn't offend anybody, but two things that don't lie: yoga pants and Marvin Jarman. And I'm like, you know what? I can get behind that because it's very true. So it's a as is life. It's a kind of a roller coaster in the community right now. Um, God bless and prayers for Marvin and his family and RV and the whole Rose family. But Marvin extended way past Rose. I mean, he did. He is a was and is a an absolute icon in youth athletics and what it means to be a fan. And if we could all follow his lead, the fans, the umpires, the participants would all have a better time if we could just enjoy sitting back and taking in the game.
I couldn't say it better. So many times, I think it was back in the late '90s when I started in radio and found out about Marvin and RV and their relationship, good friends, and all the people that have given him rides, and just a great guy. And you think about Rose and what that meant to him, but think about the same thing, how there's so many people pouring their hearts out today that were fans of Rose or not fans of Rose, but they lived in Greenville and Pitt County and they knew who he was. And so it's hard to, a guy like that, I know he was 77, but you want that guy to be like 105, 110, if he had quality of life, but certainly he's going to be missed. And I know, especially in the rampant, all the fans there, it's he's an icon for, that's probably close to 30 years I've known about Marvin Jarman, starting my career in Greenville.
You know what, Dave, though? I think you're slighting the rest of the sports world. I swear to you, it's not a Rose thing. He certainly is Mr. Rose Eye, no question. Rose Athlete, no question. But there's a lot of people. I mean, he would come in my dugout when I was coaching Legion ball. We were playing a guy Smith. He would come in the dugout and be around the guys, whatever, until Rabbit Fulgham showed up in the other dugout. And then he's across the field to go hang out with the Green Central guys or Green County guys, as it may be. So I mean, it's the loyalties lied where they lied with Marvin, but they were always earnest. And again, it's somewhat of a sad day, and it is a sad day, I guess. But at the end of the day, we're all better for having experienced Marvin and for having had you could walk up and down the street and talk to lots of people and ask them about their interaction with Marvin Jarman. And every story is going to be different, but every story is going to be exactly the same at the core. Marvin Jarman was who he was, and he was unapologetic. And for whatever reason, if you want to say it was his specialty, if you want to say whatever, but at the end of the day, we could all take a page out of that book.
No doubt. With a few minutes we have left with you, John White, we'll get a couple questions. And he says, Campbell, not the same team, always formidable coming up. UNC with 3 games and ODU in a 7-day stretch will be a good test. He's talking about Parker as well. One of the most special moments I've seen for ECU since my time beginning in 1987.
Yeah, so Campbell will never be the same team year in, year out. They play the game. They play the hand that they're dealt, right? We talk about that with our players. Play the hand that you're dealt. Campbell's good. They just took 2 out of 3 from UCSB, who was like number, I want to say UC Santa Barbara is like number 17 in the country.
The top 10. Yep.
Yeah, and so Campbell nipped them for 2. The
Where was
Tar
that game
Heels
played, Mully?
Do what, Bob?
Where was that series played?
That's a great question. I think it was at Campbell.
Okay. Wow.
I saw the scores, but I didn't even. I should have picked up on the box score, but I just was checking scores.
Yeah, John said there's 17.
So did you go? the Tar Heels just bludgeoned Wagner, 46 runs. They got like 7 arms in today. So I mean, yeah, no question that we're gonna find out a little bit more about this club. But and what people have to realize, it doesn't matter if we win the week. Sure, that's what you want to do every week. But you got to go back to remember a team that was a game below 500, 22 games in, and they ended up hosting a super. So it's one of those things where identities are being formed. I'll tell you what I like. I like Carter Cunningham. I like where JC is. I like Dixon Williams. Now, I do worry a little bit about Dixon defensively, not from a glove on ball standpoint, but a little bit of a throwing standpoint. But he's going to get you more than he's going to give up. The plate stuff behind the dish, the catching, may be a little bit of a concern. But when I look at the outfield depth and the guys that can hit, run, the team speed, the pitching depth, they literally have – East Carolina has 4 guys that are very capable of being Sunday starters. Now, Shankman has decided to go back to the pen, or they decided for him, or however that shook out. But there are like Jaden Winters. There are options. I'm drawing a blank. Chris, the kid from Chris, that pitched Friday night, pitched Saturday, works fast. I'm drawing a blank. But
I'll look it up.
But you've got him, and then Norby, and look, the pitching staff has depth. And more importantly, in my time around this club, what I take away is that these dudes love each other. They genuinely care. And I'm gonna tell you, the best team I've ever been a part of was a team that just did everything together, and they were in it for each other's best interest, not their own. When you get to that point, man, all bets are off and anything can happen.
Was it Chris Kaler?
Kaler, yeah. Kaler, man, I love the way he works. He works fast. He gets the ball. Now, Kaler's also a guy that when you send him in a game, if you take him out of the pen, you almost want to have another guy down there. Number one, he works really quick, so he can throw a lot of pitches before you turn around. Secondly, he's like what we used to call a JARP, just another average right-handed pitcher as it relates to velocity. He's like 86, 88, spin a breaking ball. If he's missing, he doesn't throw pitches in the white part of the plate. He's working black the whole time. His breaking ball is effective early. But if he doesn't have that, you almost need to have like a backup plan already happening because it could blow up on you in a hurry. But look, man, I like the staff. I like what they have. I will tell you this, Mike Mullis' take, and Cliff Godwin may, if he's watching or watches later, this team is different. This team has feel, has chemistry, has every teams that win the most important thing to them is not winning. It's not the destination, it's the trip. And these guys value that trip to get better. And whatever the destination is, all right, so be it.
No doubt. And Shell has a question for you, Mully, from the Queen City. Hello to Shell in Charlotte. He says, Mully, do you think Jenkins Coward can get back to his production of his freshman year?
Shell, you know what's funny? He hit 500 on the weekend with 2 home runs.
Yeah.
Now,
6 for 12, 2 home runs.
I'm sorry?
I was giving his number, 6 for 12, 2 home runs.
Yeah, I don't think we can expect that every weekend.
Right.
And again, he's going to get a better dose. I'll tell you what you notice, and Shell, and answer your question, he's working earlier, right? So last year they kind of tried to back him out, have him see more pitches. This weekend, it was like, dude, if you see it and you want to pull the trigger, pull the trigger. It got him out half the time, but half the time it was really good. So what you're going to start seeing is opposing staffs pitch against that. So you have guys like that just think if I see a pitch and I can get my bat on it, I can hit that pitch with productivity. As we see better and better pitching, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, in answer to the short question show, yeah, I mean, I've watched his BP. I watched him in the fall. He was not good. I watched him early spring. He was not good or goodish. The progression. Here's the thing with him. When you see him, little insider deal, when you see him hit a ball backside, you know he's going to have a good day. You hear my crowds in there yelling. They're still around though. Apparently, they don't know that I'm on a big time podcast.
Well, I know you have to run. Do you have any final thoughts? We've kept you over a couple minutes, but wanted to have you on tonight. It's a great weekend, and I know we've had some viewers and listeners already say that we've got a tough few games ahead. Obviously, this week is going to be very telling.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I can promise you this: those guys, they're not worried about it. It is. This was a great weekend to do what happened. You go out, beat it around, have a good weekend. Weather was, better than it could have been, and it was still brutal if you're a consumer of the game. But at the end of the day, no, I mean, look, this is what it's all about. Like, I don't want to face your number 4 guy. I want to face your number 1 guy. And I can promise you this Pirate Club feels the same way. So, no, it's going to be fun, man. Look, and I look forward. I've got Sunday's call, and we'll have a good time with that. And, this is what it's about. Look, Ric Flair said it best.
To be the man.
You got to beat the man, right?
That's
so
right.
Let's go beat them. Let's at least play them. And if we win more than we lose, we know we're better than most.
There you go.
That's a great way to end. Thank you so much, my friend, and I appreciate you. And before we let you go, too, I wanted you to plug your businesses because you've been so good to us, and love all the stuff you're doing.
Oh, look, man, don't worry about all that. It's every day's a different day, and we're just out here grinding. So I appreciate you guys, and tell Bubba to get a damn watch.
Okay. All right. We will, man.
All right. You guys take care.
All right. Bye. All right. Great to have Mully on with us, obviously. Yeah. And we actually have now time for, we wanted to get him on. He had the crowd there over at his house. So appreciate him very much and spending time with us.
Yeah, he had 8:45 stop time. He went a little over with us. But as Mully was saying, good weekend for the Pirates. Started off 3-0. JCC or JC or Jacob Singing Coward or whatever you want to call him. Big weekend, 6 for 12, 2 home runs, as we mentioned. The pitching was as expected. I guess maybe the question was for Sunday, and the Sunday pitching was good. We got a shutout today. Can't ask for anything better than that. As Dave, if we talked about, tough week ahead with Campbell, the Tar Heels, ODU after that. Then you hit into the Keith LeClaire Classic. You got the likes of Purdue and Fullerton coming to town. So the schedule amps up in a hurry.
And ODU.
I mentioned ODU. It's like Mully said. Let's say this week with the 4 against. We'll stick with this week with the 4 against Campbell in North Carolina. Yep. You'd like to go 3-1. You'd like to go 4-0. At worst 2-2. But let's say it's a 1-for-3 week. But that don't mean the season's over. Correct. It's all right to be disappointed. It's all right to be pissed off. But it's a lot of baseball. This ain't football. There's a lot of games to be played. So if things don't go our way this week, I hope nobody panics just yet. So let the season play out. But yeah, of course, it sure would be nice to take the series from the Tar Heels and beat Campbell midweek. And I don't believe we won a game in Boys Creek since 1993. I know that's wrong, but it just seems like it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They walked us off last year there at Boys Creek. And you think about it, Kyle. I was talking to some folks in the press box today, and this Campbell baseball and East Carolina baseball series is really, really like a huge rivalry. I mean, more than
I would say in a way, Dave, it's almost, I won't say taking the place, but it's kind of overshadowed the Wilmington series as of late.
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of a lot of hate, so to speak, between Wilmington and East Carolina. Just going back from a few years ago to the debacle in the regionals and the old CAA days. But in the last couple years, I would argue this Campbell series has become more heated than the Wilmington series. I don't know if everybody would agree with that, disagree with it, or what. Just my personal feeling.
No, you're right, because last year, we have, if you think about it, Kyle, we talked about this about not hosting the regional. You have 3 one-run ball games against Campbell last year, 3. And, we couldn't get it done. Shoulda, coulda, we didn't. This is a brand new year, but that kind of those close games like that and the walking off in Bowie's Creek last year, like we had, that kind of stuff, it just adds to, like you said, it adds to a rivalry. And Justin Harris did a great job there in Bowie's Creek with Campbell. I mean, they're knocking at the door of Omaha also with the super regional appearances. Regional appearances, they get great talent there, and we'll have our hands full. But guess what? They're going to have their hands full too. You know what I mean? So,
we're number 11 for a reason.
Yeah. And I know you're not big on the polls, but for those that are, it doesn't look like, I don't think we're going to make it not that it matters at this point, but I don't think there's going to be much movement. So for those that pay attention to the polls, don't be surprised if we're pretty much the same. And that's okay, because we held our own, we held serve, we played extremely well, and that served us well for this week coming up.
Yeah, the polls really don't matter, but we will have an opportunity to move up in the polls this coming week. You handle your business this coming week. We go 3-1. We'll move up in the polls.
I believe
4-0, we'll move way up.
The reason I'm sorry,
the
reason why I said that is because, and JR and the folks watching, listening right now help me, but I believe, I was talking to the guys in the press box at the end of the game. I believe every single every single team in the top 10 won this weekend. So that's why I'm not saying it's because of our performance. It's because of what the people did ahead of us.
No, it's hard to move up when the people in front of you are winning. When you're beating Ryder, like I say, with the week we have coming up, we'll have a chance to move up even if people in front of us win, because we're playing, big time competition. So,
okay,
go ahead.
I've got a question for you right now, Kyle, and for we can put this out to everybody watching and listening live. Williams says, who do you think gets the start Tuesday at Campbell? That's a good
God,
question.
I have no idea.
There's so many options, and being that William, I'm not trying to avoid the question, but the reason why it's not that we're being indecisive, we've got a lot of options, which is a great thing. Johnny Robertson says, Coach Godwin and Justin Harris Campbell are the only 2 teams in the nation to either regular season or conference championship to win one. And each of the last 5 full seasons, Cliff is 10-6 against Campbell. So that's it. I knew that we were better than, but it's just the last 3. It's last year that really hurts, but that's part of the game. John White says Gator lost 1, rained out twice, but they were not falling far. And then Johnny Robertson's going, and I was wondering, Johnny, this is one of the guys I thought about when we were talking to Mully, and if we had some more time, I was going to ask him this question. Jaden Winter is one that I had in my mind. So Luxford Sheikman is another one that those are the 2 that pop in my head, like the first 2 that come to mind. But the good news is we have depth big time at pitching. And I was talking, by the way, Kyle, to Coach O today, if there's some way that we can keep this pitching staff healthy with the bats that we have, we're going to be in good shape. So just, I know the injuries always play a part of a team, but pitching is going to be, if we can keep those guys healthy, we've got
this is the second time in 2 days you've talked about our pitching staff getting injured. I don't know if you're paranoid or what, but stop talking about it.
Okay.
You're gonna talk it into fruition.
No, I'm not.
Let's just not even talk about the pitching staff getting injured. No,
I'm not putting out the universe for sure, but certainly I tell you what, really happy overall. I know there's a lot of people that would
Yeah,
say,
and I want to say this for everybody listening. If you want the in depth breakdown, like we normally do for each game, Bubba always is our stat guy. Bubba will be back with us next week. At least I'm assuming, and we'll be with all the stats to break down each game. And of course, next week against North Carolina and Campbell, having all those stats breaking down each game will be much more important than the Rider series. So, just for anybody who may be missing that with tonight's episode, that will be back next week.
okay. And as a matter of fact, I mean, it's one of those things where everybody, as you know, there's 4 different guys on the show and 4 schedules, people traveling. I mean, there's a lot going on. By the way, I wanted to mention that something I'm very proud of, and thanks to Kyle and Bubba have been with me like every step of the way. But the Keith LeClaire Classic coming up on March 1st, that is actually our 6th anniversary of the show. I'm really proud of all the guys on the show, obviously, and all our listeners and viewers. It's been, speaking of when Mully was talking about a journey, we've had a big time journey, and really proud of the product that we put out. And obviously, we've got a lot more to go this year as far as sports are going, but good win for basketball. Softball did well this weekend. Disappointing, I know, that Kim McNeil and company, as far as women's basketball, they lost a tough one yesterday, 72-70. But really proud of their season. So things are looking up.
Yeah, 3 wins in a row for the men's basketball team.
Yeah.
Nice win today over Tulane. Really dominant win in the second half.
Yeah.
Schedule gets we got Rice, and then after that, schedule gets a lot tougher with Memphis, North Texas, SMU, Charlotte, all to close out the season. So we'll really find out how much we've improved when we get into those last 4 games. But as we focus the attention back on baseball, do we have a question there, Dave?
Well, William makes a great comment. If Cam Clonch keeps delivering it, it'll be tough to keep him out of the lineup. I'm glad you brought that up, William, because, Coach G, Cliff Godwin was talking about Cam. Cam, obviously, with that home run today, space, again, having those 2 options, I mean, either one of them can start, right? And Clonch is a guy that is selfless, a guy that puts team first, as Coach was talking about. I'm paraphrasing, and really happy about that. You need guys like that have a lot of talent, and they're going to do whatever it takes to win, just like Luke Nowak today, DH. Wherever they can put you, in the lineup, always remember that. As I told my son when he was asking me about what position he could play in football, I said, whatever the coach tells you. And like year before last was his first year of football. And that's the same way with these guys. Really proud of Cam Clonch. Carter Cunningham, that's a guy that he talked about in the media day. Kyle, I don't know if you remember, he enters the transfer portal. He ends up staying at East Carolina. He even admitted at media day he probably didn't handle things the right way. And look at him. He has home runs. JC has home runs this weekend. I mean, and Coach Godwin was talking about, Kyle, something he talked about the media day also was the fact that he has a really difficult job. And what he means by that is we've got a lot of good players, but only those 9 guys, you can only put 9 guys on the field. And so it's great to have the depth that we have. This, and Coach O told me this too, this is probably the most we've had as far as depth at position players in a good while. I mean, you've got a lot of guys that can play the infield. So it's a good problem to have. You look at the pitching, we've got a lot of depth. So
I'm going to Omaha for sure this year.
There you go. Kyle said it. Kyle said it, folks.
Book your flights now. No, the potential's always there, but I'm just trying to overhype it. But yeah, it's good to have depth, and we got depth is one thing. What we have is quality depth, and both at most of the positions, and definitely on the pitching staff, and depth will take you far, particularly pitching depth. Dave, do we have the graphic? Oh, we got Bubba. Bubba's here.
Hey, Bubba. Yeah, we can talk some stats now as far as
we got Bubba's still on mute, so we got to make sure Bubba's gonna actually be here. So we'll give Bubba a second to see if he wants to chime in. But
here's
go ahead, Dave.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, the PGX Gloves player and pitcher of the week is okay. Evidently, Bubba was just correcting some graphics there. But the PGX Gloves pitcher and player of the week. Do we have those graphics, or are we just gonna tell the listeners who the pitchers and player of the week are?
All right. So
There we go. PGX
you, Bubba.
pitcher of the week. So
I
go ahead,
believe,
take it, Dave.
okay, the pitcher of the week, I believe we're going with, help me out, Bubba. I believe Zach Roots. I believe we're going with Zach Roots. His performance yesterday, I mean, he was incredible. And that's the thing. Jake Hunter, 5 innings today. You look at, of course, Trey Savage. He looked great Friday. But I think we're going with Zach Roots for the PGX Gloves pitcher of the week. And again, talk about a tough pick to make. All of them look great. And get this, guys. I forgot how many innings the starters had for the Friday, Saturday, Sunday rotation. Guess how many? Hey, Kyle, guess how many runs they gave up? Our starting pitching.
0. Yeah, I think 0.
1.
Okay, well,
1 run. I found that out after the game today. So
yeah,
admittedly,
I was not locked in this weekend. I got to see the majority of the game Friday. Missed almost the entire game yesterday, and got to see the majority of the game today. So forgive me for not getting that exactly right. It's a 0. It was
right.
1.
Okay, and he has Zach Root, 4.2 innings pitched, and he had 7 strikeouts and 1 walk. Starters, 13.2 innings pitched, 1 run, 1 earned run, 5 hits, 21 strikeouts, and 6 walks. So somebody's going to get that KFC that leg for sure.
Chicken leg.
Chicken leg.
All right, so we PGX Gloves pitcher of the week. So we're going to move on to
Player
PGX Glove player of the week and player of the week. You know what? I think we're going to have a tie here. The first one is very obvious, and you got to go with Parker Bird. Parker obviously transcends baseball. What he did, it wasn't his numbers. Obviously, 1 appearance, 1 walk. It was what he did as a person, persevering for everything he went through. You can't even put it into words and do it justice. The young man almost lost his life. He went through multiple surgeries.
22 surgeries.
22 surgeries, exactly. Has his, whole life ahead of him, his whole career. And he persevered. He's pushing through. And, he's doing it with a prosthetic leg. And, maybe, it really doesn't matter at this point if he doesn't do what he could have done prior to that accident. Because what he's doing is bigger than that. I mean, he's given so many people so much hope. And, I think he realizes that. And, I don't know Parker personally, but from the outside looking in, he's approached it all with such a positive attitude. And you would almost have to, or you wouldn't have succeeded or made it this far.
Right.
So, Parker Bird, PGS Club Player of the Week. And then we're also going to give it a tie to Jacob Jenkins Coward, who JJC with 6 for 12 on the weekend, 2 home runs. Glad to see JJC looking like what he looked like his freshman season, at least for the first weekend of the year, and hopefully that will continue throughout the season. Dave, you either muted yourself or you're not talking.
I don't know what happened.
There we go. There we go. We can hear. We can hear to get. Bubba has put it there on the screen. What we've stated there. Players of the week with Jacob Jenkins Coward, and put his numbers up right there.
All right, 6 for 12, 2 home runs. He had 3 doubles, 5 RBI. So great weekend for him, and great for see him, his efforts. What I was saying, if you couldn't hear me, but
no, we couldn't.
Can you hear me now?
We got you perfect.
Okay, good. What I was saying is the fact that he, after that NC State game, when he got hurt, he just wasn't himself, and I'm proud of him for his working hard, and he's been working really hard in the off season. And certainly, I think another thing too is you got to think about something too. When you think about competitors on the opposing teams, they know how to pitch around him. They know what they have to do. He was a freshman, so they didn't know anything about him. And then his sophomore year, he gets hurt, but they also know a little bit about him. And so good to see him bounce back. And
yeah, and I don't know this exactly. Also, I think sometimes kids can get in their own head and then coaches try to coach and they get overcoached. And I'm not suggesting Coach Godwin don't know what the hell he's doing and been overcoaching anybody. But I think when players get in their heads and then coaches coach them, it sounds like they told him to go back and taking the approach he took as a freshman this weekend, and it worked for him. So, sometimes you're as good as you're going to get when you get here, and he won't so bad his freshman year. So, if it ain't broke, don't mess with it.
No doubt about it. We're grateful for him, and that's the thing. You have Jacob Starling, you have Cunningham, you have Cam Quanch. There's a lot of guys that Brini, Riley Johnson, a lot of there's a lot of new kids, but it seems like, Kyle, and I don't know if folks want to comment on this, but JR, and we've got a lot of James Cutler and Robert Matthews, but it seems like with these guys, you've got a nice mix of young guys, a lot of talent coming up, but you've also
got. Like you just included our listeners in on the team there. You just kind of ran it together. Robert Matthews is a hell of a player.
He is.
Yeah.
No doubt. But let's see. What else? Oh, I have one here for you. Robert Matthews. He was wondering why Kyle Neary is on Ryder's roster. He should be on the top tier's roster. That guy hits bombs. He's a great outfielder. He's a that's the freshman, right? Robert, I believe off the top of my head, that hit the 2 home runs on Friday.
Well, Ryder was the tournament team last year. Yeah. I'm not sure where Kyle is from, but it could be a geography thing. And if he keeps playing like that, chances are he'll sign an NIL deal with somebody and won't be on Ryder's squad next year.
Yeah, John White, former player, obviously, for the Pirates. He said he also played in the Cape, and experience in that atmosphere of players helps. That's a big deal, no doubt about it. Man, the Cape is good college summer league baseball.
Who's he referring to there? Jenkins Coward?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we've got a lot of great viewers and listeners tonight. In fact, Bub, if you want to chime in as well, we've got a handful of minutes here. Kyle, I tell you what, with this team, we talked about the games coming up. What else? Were there anything else that stood out to you for the team this weekend?
No, we just did what we were supposed to do more than anything. Handled our business. You're playing Ryder. It's the equivalent. Even though they were a tournament team, when it's kind of the equivalent of playing an FCS school at the start of college football season. And that's no disrespect to Ryder, but you kind of looking forward to more of. You find out more what we are in the coming days with Campbell, with UNC, with Old Dominion, and then with the lineup in the Keith LeClaire Classic, with Purdue, Fullerton, and Southeast Louisiana or Southwest Louisiana, Southeast, Southwest, wherever the hell they are. So the competition picks up mightily starting
Southeastern, by the way.
Yeah, the competition picks up mightily starting midweek, and so we did what we were supposed to do this weekend, and that's really all you can say. Everybody was in a panic a couple years ago after the Bryant series, and the way the season kind of started, and then we ended up, making a run, and almost won the Supers and went to Omaha. So you can't judge a lot off of week 1 or even week 2, but you definitely want to win the games anyway.
No doubt, it's going to be fun. It's very exciting to have baseball back, and man, you are the weather guy. You are the meteorologist for the Sports Objective, but I know that like 5 years ago, we actually set out there. It was you, me, Alex, Bubba, Jessica. There was 5 of us, but we set out there, and it was Sunday 5 years ago, and it was definitely like today. Hardcore. The high in Greenville today was only 48 degrees, and man, it was something else.
So 2019, in my head, it was 2020 before the COVID outbreak, but you're saying it was 2019?
Yeah, it was 2019.
Okay.
Let's see. Right. I was going to, and there's a reason how I know, but I'll tell you off the air. But anyway, because usually you're right on that. But listen to the attendance, by the way, Kyle. I wanted to talk about this because I love Pirate Nation. Basketball, by the way, over 4,700, 4,725 today for basketball. Great news there. I think it's the second biggest crowd after Wilmington. But check this out for baseball, Kyle. You think that baseball matters in Greenville? We had the largest crowd in the history of opening day for Clark LeClaire on Friday, 5,221. Yesterday for Saturday, 5,102. Today, even with the weather, guys, even when things were not great, being a little chilly today, 4,129 in attendance today. So those numbers, you're looking at around 14.5 for 3 days. 14.5. I mean, for 3 games, and that's just the beginning of the year. So
I would think next Sunday will be a complete sellout with as of right now, meteorologist Kyle Barber says the high next Sunday is forecast to be 57 degrees and sunny. So next Sunday in Greenville for the Tar Heels should be a sold out Clark LeClaire.
And Bubba, thank you very much. The South Carolina game had over 5,700 plus, and UNC Wilmington 5,200. So those were the two. So maybe it's third, but a good crowd today, and they did a good job, by the way, Kyle. They had the little girls, the junior pirate dancers, and they had all their families there. So that helped the attendance out as well. And I won't read what Robert said, but he actually was he was freezing. He was freezing.
Well, it's up on the screen. He said he froze his balls off. So Dave's cutting out on us. Maybe
I'm back.
You there? All right, there you go.
But
Dave, you were scared to read that? Did you freeze your balls off?
No, I was in the press box, so I did not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Of course you were.
Well, you can come up there anytime you want, my friend. But yeah, so it's good. I tell you why it's good in the press box. I tell you why in baseball, because it's going to be chilly the beginning of the year, or it's going to be 100 degrees by June. Or, the way that our weather is, it might be that way, in April, but who knows? But for me, what's great about the press box is actually I can really concentrate on the game and get my thoughts ready.
You don't have to give the reason. You're we're members of the press. I just give you crap about the press box because I just do.
But anyway, we are very appreciative. Again, 6 years coming up on March 1st. I want to thank Bubba, Kyle, and Matt. Couldn't be with us tonight. I appreciate that very much.
And then the people that has helped us through the years as we're coming up on 6 years, the guys that have come and gone through the pod. Stevie is a regular contributor. Stevie Fly, Jeff Connors is a regular contributor with his show. Then we've had guys that have helped us out over the years. Brendan Shapiro.
What about Terry Gallagher?
Terry Gallagher has been a huge part of the podcast.
Get him back on. He's had
what's his name? We're forgetting the young guy. Help me out, Dave. Did quite a bit of work for us. Helped us with graphics, etc. Did some on-air stuff for us.
Sutton Young. Can you hear me?
Young, thank you. Yes, Sutton Young, another guy that's helped us over the last 6 years.
No doubt. But
I think Dave, you've got a horrible internet connection tonight. Apparently, while Bubba hasn't been using his internet, you've been using it instead.
Can you hear me?
Can now.
Okay. All right. Maybe I need to reset it. It'll be too late, but we'll do it after the show. But again, thanks for everybody. By the way, speaking of,
and Dave froze again. Dave, are you with us? Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and close this thing out.
Hey,
Dave, are you back?
I'm back.
Close it out, Dave. Close it out.
I'm trying to. We're thanks to our good friend Mark Minikasi from pgxgloves.com. He's been with us for a long, long time, and we're actually going to get our gloves for my son and daughter. They're getting ready to have baseball, and baseball and softball are just a few weeks away for us. So to get ready to start practicing in the matter of a few weeks, but you go to pgxgloves.com. They have everything, right, Kyle?
Yeah, any kind of gloves you need, from golf to baseball, batting gloves. If you're a wide receiver, receiving gloves, any of you gentlemen out there to play golf, go get you some golf gloves. pgxgloves.com. Mark Minikasi will hook you up. Do we have a promo code right now to put in for the listeners to save money?
I believe it was the ECU.
Okay, so you can try that. We know that was the promo code last year.
I think
I forget how much it saved people, but put in promo code ECU. Say again?
I believe it's 20% off.
20% off a promo code ECU. Put it in at checkout.
All right, it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, that Campbell game is on Tuesday, and then we have the Carolina Series Friday. It's going to be in Chapel Hill Saturday at Segra Stadium in Fayetteville, and Sunday, get your tickets for that Clark LeClaire. That's going to be a great game at 2:00 on Sunday. Thanks to everybody. Jeff Collins says, "Go Pirates." Appreciate you, Jeff. Robert, John, everybody tuning in tonight. And if you're listening we do it every Sunday night. So be sure this is episode 1. I think this is like season 5 we've done for Extra Innings. And again, thanks to PGX Club. We'll get out of here. Thank you, everybody. And as always, good night and go Pirates.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.